Welcome to the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's at his ideal weight if he were 10 feet tall, beef loaf. Never holding but always partaking, not hungry but will eat, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's aged and smells like a sharp cheddar, Terezi E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. We are back, and we are ready for some baseball, beer, bullshit, and possibly our most ridiculous draft ever. It's great to have no time limit like we do on three things, and with that in mind, let me take some time to give you the drinking rules. If Beefloaf says allegedly, or uses an advanced stat, or has to correct one of us, you drink. If My Sock Summer can't pronounce a name, or doesn't know a player, or just generally doesn't seem to know where he is, you drink. If I swear, or say, here's the thing, or defend Isaiah Thomas, you drink. And if someone opens a fresh beer, you drink. Beefloaf, how you doing, brother?
I'm swell. I can't believe we're back in the podcast seats again. I really love this. I feel like we've been exploring some new things during the shelter in place, not those types of things.
It's like college.
Morning already.
Yeah, and we're and it's good to get back to our roots a little bit and talk law reform about some things. And there hasn't been baseball stuff until right up about now, so we've been marinating a little bit. We're like a nice skirt steak. We've been getting all marinated. We're almost ready to go.
Absolutely, I could see this going like 4 hours tonight. My Sock Summer, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. And for those that are wondering and are playing at home, I did not piss outside today. I have kept all my pisses on the inside of the house. I haven't done that. I am not drinking alcohol tonight because I've been getting these real wicked-ass hangovers, and I just can't risk it for tomorrow, my one day off a week usually. I can't do it, so I just took a microdose marijuana gummy before I came down. So by the time we get to the best draft we've ever done and the weirdest, horniest draft we've ever done, I will be rolling with the Angels up on high. You know what I'm saying?
I thought he was going to say he'd be rolling with the homies.
Rolling with the homies too, man.
That will not be our only Clueless reference tonight, just so you guys know.
Terezi, how are you, baby? Well, how's it going?
Man. I am doing good. So I was actually just listening to a band called the Westward Spirit. You may or may not have ever heard of, but it's my buddy's band, this dude Garrick that I used to be in Gunner's Daughter with. It's great. If you want to check it out, go give it a listen. But the reason I was listening to it because it was recently his birthday, and so for the past I don't even know how many years on his birthday. I send him a birthday text, and we don't text that often, right?
Yep.
But so if I scroll back through my birthday or through his text messages, I see all these birthday texts, and every year for the forever how long, I've been sending him a picture of Sarah J on his birthday.
Love it.
And so this year I found this one of Obama looking up at Sarah J, and then it had the Twitter account. Where her Twitter account, where he's one of the followers.
I remember when that was trending. That wasn't that long ago, and it was great. I was so happy about that.
Pretty recent. And
now that kid, is that the? So I think you toured with that kid, or he maybe he helped you guys on one of your tours in the past. And you guys were schooling him on pornographies, right?
Well, so
you guys were having a little back
pornographies.
So yeah. So it was kind of fun because he's much younger. He's probably 10 years younger than me.
Okay.
And just an incredible guitarist. And yeah, so we toured with his band at one point, and then he joined Gunner's Daughter, and then we did. I've probably toured with him just as much as anybody. And but the first time we were out, it was a little weird because someone 10 years younger than you don't always have a lot in common to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
And we were talking some basketball because he's a big Celtics fan, and we talked a little baseball. And then I just remember the one day like the topic of porn came up, and like everyone started firing on all cylinders. Like it was we really connected at that point. But yeah, and we all kind of laughed about the Sarah J thing. I think Beef used to say you had a game for Sarah J when you'd watch one of her videos, which was if you'd throw up or climax.
If you make it, if you climax, you don't.
That's fucking rude, man.
You could occasionally get both of them together if you get close enough in that perfect window right there. But you can't always time it that well.
She doesn't listen to the show anymore, so I think it's fine.
Supposedly she's a Sox fan. I don't think she really is, but there are pictures of her wearing a Sox shirt on the internet.
I've seen that. It's one of the few pictures you can find of her with a shirt on. So I think that it's a true fandom.
So that's one of your work Zoom backgrounds now, isn't it?
Oh man, I should do that.
You should have her as your work Zoom. I have met Sarah J several times. She is a very nice lady.
She seems friendly.
She's very friendly. Second, I think she had the shortest amount of time where she was like really good looking in porn. Like it wasn't very good. Like it wasn't a very long time. She became a poodle very quickly. Her hair got too curly, and she sort of lost some weight in her face, and it just did not hold up well for her. I used to like Sarah J back in the Bang Bros days, like the original ones, and then she went more solo, and I'm just not. She didn't have her fastball more recently. Like
Treasy, he said back in the Bang Bros days, like it was the 7th of 10 episodes of Ken Burns baseball. Like it was an era.
I'm saying
this is the little timeline just went back on The Last Dance.
It was before she does a lot of independent stuff, and she's been doing a lot of independent stuff because that's how these girls actually make money. And it's like in this day and age, obviously it's not very hard if you can push record on a camera. You can film your own video. But she was working for Bang Bros, and then she just stopped working for them and doing her own stuff. So that's why I'm saying Bang Bros is when she was working for them.
I contend. I agree with you, myself, somewhere, but I can actually contend that more people have put pornography onto the internet than have contracted the coronavirus, and I think that's going to
easily
through the end.
Yeah. I mean I think more have put it on the internet than have not, and I think that's the key. So you're at like 160 million people then.
Right.
Just in the U.S.
If we can get every one of those guys to donate $1, we might get baseball this year. So,
speaking of which, let's talk about that because this is we're recording this on the night of May 15th.
Yeah.
So the players have been given the proposal from the major league owners, but as far as I know, at this point, have not responded. But obviously, they're not terribly happy about it. I think the piece that they're probably most upset about, and you guys, if you've been reading the internets today, and I haven't, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it is the 50-50 revenue share that's getting thrown around. In my understanding, and maybe this is incorrect, but my understanding is that one of the things that the players really don't like about this is that it's leaning towards a salary cap, the way that the NFL has it, NBA, NHL, where their future year salary caps are based on that revenue split. And so I could see from the player's perspective wanting to avoid a salary cap, but they basically have one. Like it's
right.
The owners act like there's a salary cap, right? They get penalized like there's a salary cap.
There's a luxury tax, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a soft cap, but I mean no one goes over it. They treat it like it's a hard cap, and the penalties accelerate after a couple years, and that's why you see the Red Sox ducking out of the Mookie Betts deal. You don't think they had to keep Mookie Betts and try to make another playoff run this year if there was no penalties and substantial penalties to them where they lose draft picks and that sort of thing? 100% they'd be going for it no matter what bullshit they're trying to sell right now.
Yeah, and the other thing is we don't know exactly what the owners make, but most estimates are between like 10 and 11 billion in revenue for the owners, and the players' salaries add up to something like, is it like 4.5 billion or something like that, or 4 point? It's in the 4 billions, because I know cutting it in half for the prorated salaries is somewhere just a little north of $2 million or $2 billion. Sorry, yeah, 2 million. If it was 2 million, we'd have this sorted out. But
we could finance the league.
yeah,
We could have a kick-ass baseball league for $2 million.
Dr. Evil was negotiating that. He got it up to $2 million.
I mean, we could get public money to finance a stadium if we could run a whole league for $2 million. That would just be.
There's no question.
God, you know how much fun we would have? We'd have so much fucking fun. Dollar dogs every day. Dollar dogs and dollar beers every fucking day. That's all I have to say.
Chaos.
All right, I'll stop putting us off the rails.
so there's a lot of interesting stuff here, to me at least, and like kind of number one on that is let's say for some reason the players are like, yep, we're gonna do this rev split. We're good with this. Let's see how this goes. That means the owners would have to disclose how much they actually make, right? This would be the first time the owners would have to go through this exercise. And I think they like to bullshit that they're poor. And like, oh, we're barely skating by here. So I think you'd have to see all these revenues that they're drawing in from television, and it would just be above the board all of a sudden. I think that would be a fairly interesting proposition.
Well, now is that technically how it goes in the other sports, or is it sort of a closed door? Hey, we're gonna do a calculation and throw it out there, and you don't really fucking know what we're putting into this? Because I feel like
the NFL is the latter.
I was gonna say
because
my guess is there'd be lack of transparency. There'd be a black box, and it would be just as full of shit as it is right now, except potentially chintzier.
See, but I think if you're going to agree to this, you have to have that as a contingency, right? They have to open the books if they're going to we'll do a rev share, but we need to see the books. We need to see the fucking ledger that the guy in Union Station has. We need to see that.
I was going to say they're going to make Philip Green open the fucking books. Yeah, right. You know what's going to happen after that.
So it's kind of like, it's almost like a poker move too. It's like when you call, right? Because you're trying to they're like, hey, we're gonna give you this, but then you want to see those cards, so you're like, I'm gonna call you, motherfucker, and then we're gonna try to see it. Like, I don't play poker.
No, that's a good call. You're trying to obtain the information, right? So you may agree to it just to obtain the information, just to open it up
for next year, right? To go into the negotiations and go like, we know how much you make now, and that was without fans,
right? Yeah,
and then if you and then you really call bullshit on them and go, okay, so it's that plus 40%, right? Because you guys make 40% off of the game day experience, according to you. That's why we had to take this. So whatever we made this year, which we could see, times 2, because we're going to get another half of the season, and the 40%. So yeah, I would love if the players got to call bullshit on that and run that up.
I'll be honest, I would love it if all the teams were almost treated like public utilities, and they had to have audited financials that everyone could see. Anyone who lives in the jurisdiction or anyone in the country who even wants to see this shit, to me, I think that would be a better, more transparent way to do this. And I've got many, many objections towards the current ownership across all sports. People try to mirror that with being an owner of a small business. These people are not the owners of a small business. They're trustees. They're trustees of a utility, basically, okay? They do not innovate, all right? Modern owners in professional sports do not fucking innovate. Not one of these people helped pull a league together, helped build the fucking league. The league was built when they got here, and all they've been doing is collecting rent, and they've kind of been doing it private equity style. They've been cutting expenses where they can and sort of slimming that down so they can get themselves a little extra check. And so I would love that if we had public record of all this fucking shit, and every single one of these teams has taken public money in the past. All right. Every organization has taken it, even if they're not currently on the teat right this second. They've all kind of taken some public money. And so in theory, we should be able to see that. It should be like seeing a public pensions financial statements. We should be able to see who the big earners are inside of each of these buildings and a full financial statement.
Fucking A right. You know what? You mentioned something. You mentioned something in there that they don't innovate. And that's something that I was thinking about today because, like, they're crying poor because they can't put fans into the stadiums, right? And what's upsetting to me about that is that they talk shit about the minor leagues all the time. And that's the biggest problem for the minor leagues, man. They can't get people into the stadiums because they're a subpar product, right? So they have to be innovative and figure out ways to get people in or to create revenue. And the fucking owners can't figure it out. They can't think of a possible way to get more revenue. Like, I expected when they said we're expanding this playoffs to 14 games and ESPN is already locked in to pay this fucking much to have the 14 team playoff, to have all of them. And they're going to pay this exorbitant amount because the shit's happening right as the election's ratcheting up, right? Like all those Jesse the Body commercials you're going to get, you got to get your fucking money, right? So they didn't bring any of that. They didn't go, Fox has agreed that if we do this, they're going to have a triple header every Saturday of national games because there's nothing else on TV.
Right.
Or MLB Network's going to be on Hulu and Sling and all these other like OTT outlets because they're going to have games Friday night. They're going to have a double header every Friday night. Like none of this has even, I don't know. I hope they're thinking about it, but there's none of it coming out. There's nothing like, we're going to open up the parking lots and have like a drive-in type game for people to come watch. And it's going to
put a screen up there and let people watch it.
$5, but we're gonna fill the parking lot with people, and they're gonna watch the game, and we're gonna make a little bit of money off of it. Like, there's none of these ideas, and they keep coming back and saying like, we tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
Right.
That's totally true, Treasy. But you know what though? The players are not without blame when it comes to not having any ideas, not being able to play the PR game very well. I mean, you see Blake Snell go out there, and of course what he says is correct and what Trevor Bauer says is correct, but you need some personable guys out there leading this charge, someone that could be charismatic. And you know what? You got to fight fire with fire, man. These owners are very powerful, and they got the PR machine behind them. Problem number one for the players, they don't have a wartime conciliary. Tony Clark is a a pushover. He's a big pussy. He does not belong in that spot, okay? And the players got to quit looking at this like they're looking at like whoever the union leader. I mean, like, why does he have to be a Tony Clark guy? What they need is an archetype who is just like the commissioner, super highly paid, cutthroat motherfucker who's going to look out for all their shit. And to me, there's only one guy who could really do it out there, and you're going to have to pay him $30-40 million to make this shit happen. But you know what? You might really see some changes. And to me, it's Scott Boras.
Oh, yeah. I love
Players
it.
hire Boras, and it's a fucking war then. Okay? And then they really got something. No owner gives a shit about Tony Clark, nor do they care. And they're going to run him over like they always run him over. Okay? Boras, you get Boras in there. Okay? Then the next thing you start doing if you're the players is you start skirting these contracts in every way, shape possible, okay? The first thing I'm thinking about just for the White Sox, and this is going to hurt some feelings right here, okay, is I love the White Sox, and I like the organization, and then we know a lot of good people in there. If I'm the star players of the White Sox, you know what I'm not doing anymore? I'm not doing White Sox charities anymore. Jerry and the ownership group ain't getting credit for my charitable work no more. We're going to have the Tim Anderson charity. We're going to have the Lucas Giolito charity, and guess what? My teammates are going to come and work with my charity with me. And now we strip away, we do all this good in the community. Fuck you. We do all this good in the community. We're the ones who draw all this stuff. We're going to do our own goddamn thing, okay? Another thing they should be doing right now in the places where they can afford to do it They should be out there doing like ad hoc lob games, wiffle ball games. They should be getting in front of the camera. As much as I didn't watch Lucas Giolito doing Twitch because I don't give a shit, they should be doing more stuff like that, because what they need to do is get themselves married with the fans, okay? The fans won't think, oh, these guys are greedy motherfuckers if they're entertaining them all the goddamn time, okay? No one cared that, U2 made however much money they made from doing their concert tours, or the Rolling Stones. No one ever cries and says the Rolling Stones are greedy. You know why? Because they're out there entertaining all the goddamn time. The players need to get on the forefront and be aggressive with this stuff. They need to realize, what can we get away with doing? What can we get out there and show people that we're doing? Play a fucking pickup basketball game and film that. You can film anything these days. You get Barstool in here and you have them help you, or some other media, small company.
This one is so easy because this used to exist. And it was cool when it existed, and the stadium was fucking empty, and there's only like 4 people involved. The one-on-one 9-inning home run derby.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Shit was awesome. And you could go on YouTube and see these. They're from like the 60s.
Man,
like they get
great.
These great players to go against each other. And what's interesting is now, like the guys that you'd probably get are not necessarily like the highest paid dudes, right? You'd get guys that just mash, right? Like Eric Timms would be out there just like knocking the shit out of the ball. You know, no shirt on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you get a shirtless German Mercedes out there. Like, the players put on their own shit. The players start looking at this as if they're all individual businesses, okay? Some of the other sports do this. Basketball, they're really good at doing this, okay? They understand, and they learned it from Mike. They learned it from Jordan, okay? Like, Jordan's the greatest. But what Jordan's really the greatest at, better than everyone that anybody that ever lived in sports, is marketing himself. And these guys in baseball all need to start doing that. They need to make it so that even if they can't win that war, they're going to win win the promotion war. But right now, baseball players just don't sort of get it. They're not out in the forefront. They got to fight. If they want to get this shit, they want to wrestle away more money from the owners. They got to show how valuable they are outside of the game. The owners look at it like laundry. I don't know if you guys have ever read any shit, Bill James shit. Bill James has a theory that you could take every single one of the players, all the star players, throw them away right now, replace them with absolutely anybody, and it would do almost nothing to people viewing the game, being involved in the game, because everyone has their team. They have laundry. They think the players. He thinks the players are not that strong, and that the built brands of the teams are way stronger than that. And there's probably some truth to that. And the players don't attack it as if, hey, we got to fucking get ours, and not only get ours like individually, but also as a group individually. Like, they got to go at the owners in a way that would actually work. They try nothing. They don't do anything. All they do is go on the internet and complain. Now, they're right. I agree with them. I have their back. But they got to get unreasonable motherfuckers to have their back too, just like any rock band would.
And you know what they're walking into right now? They're walking into a trap that's been very nicely set for them. They're walking into the owners going, you know what? We had to lay off all these people that work in the front office that, make regular people wages just like you guys out there.
Yeah.
And it's because of these greedy ass players. So these people now, they can't work. That's the next step by the owners. That shit's already lined up. You could see it in a lot of press releases that are coming out where they're like, we're going to have to furlough workers starting June 1st.
Hey, before we get into this shit, okay, Loaf said a fucking mouthful there, and I need to take a couple things here. The first off, the most recent thing he just said here was that he used Michael Jordan as an example of how to market yourself. One of the reasons that Michael Jordan worked as such a big marketing thing is because Michael Jordan was the fucking best goddamn basketball player, most electric basketball player ever to play the fucking game when he was playing, and almost even now. Kids still pay $200 some for his fucking shoes because of what he did on the court and during his career.
And Mike Trout is selling fucking Subway sandwiches.
Right. That's exactly the point. No, it's true.
But like, Jordan is not a fair example because Jordan is just he is above that. He is like away from that. He's almost like a Hulk Hogan before he started being a racist and fucking his friends, wives on video. He was like just a mega star.
My sex summer, everyone had a fucking pair of Reebok pumps because D Brown pumped those fucking things 2 times before he dunked. Don't tell me that the NBA hasn't done a way fucking better job at this.
My sex summer, I agree with you. My sex summer, I agree with you. There is feedback loops there, right? So the people leading this charge,
I get what you're saying.
The people leading the charge have to be good. They can't just be like Joe Schmo. But
yeah, you just can't just say, "Oh, let's roll this out and see what happens."
But there's current Hall of Famers walking around the MLB. Mike Trout, like Tracy said, Mike Trout is a top 5 player on his current arc right now. Okay, he may be the best player of all time, and so you kind of have that right now in baseball. And you have a good young superstar group there. You have a bunch of Hall of Famers there. I agree with you. I'm not saying any one of them would be exactly Mike, but they got to look at that and say that's kind of what the path,
I would want that to happen. Okay, I feel like, and this is the second part, and you just kind of led into it there. You look at a player like Tim Anderson, who I've been saying to anybody, even before he started chucking baseball bats and getting in fights with all the Royals, I was like, this guy is your most marketable motherfucker on this team because he's black and he's at least a little bit outspoken, and he's just a good person to market. He has everything that you need, and he upped it. And he did his YouTube thing, which would have been bigger had the season happened. Obviously, like he's doing something. But how much fucking backlash did Tim fucking Anderson get from the old, the old fan base, old traditionalist MLB people? It's just like, just put the bat down and fucking walk over to first after you get hit. Just don't chuck the baseball, but no bat flips when you hit home runs. It's like it's a fan, and not a fan base. It's a societal thing, I guess, within baseball, where it's like you want something to be electric, but then you also are like, but don't get too fucking uppity, motherfucker. Like I'll give
the Sox some credit there though, because they leaned into that and they said we're gonna have them show kids how to bat flip at our convention this year. So.
Not just that, they made a goddamn bobblehead of him throwing a fucking bat.
Yeah.
Well, you know why they leaned into that? Because Brooks Boyer's smart, and because he knows the crotchety old fan doesn't mean shit. They don't care about that person. That person's either in already, or if they're going to get out because of that, they don't care. What they want is the kid that's 12 or 15 or 18 that's going to come on, and then they're going to buy season tickets when they're our age, and they're going to be pouring, $5,000 a year in beer into the state. Those are the people that they want to get and have those people glued to the TV. And look, you did call it with Tim Anderson way the fuck before he was anything. He's charismatic, he's handsome, like he was perfect, and you knew it immediately, my sex summer. So I give you credit there. That's what they need. They need leaders like that. And he's a good player, but he's not the best player.
No.
They need a group of guys like that to come up and start doing these things.
I mean, think about in our recent history, probably in like the last 10 years, think about some of the incredible pitchers that we've seen, like just amazing pitchers. I mean, there was like for a while, Kershaw and Bumgarner were just top of their game.
Yep.
Greinke, Chris Sale,
yep.
David Price, like all these guys, they were just incredible. I can't even think of a single commercial with one of those guys in it. Like
nope.
I'm sure Kershaw was in something, but like I don't remember it. Like
they probably all did regional shit, but nothing that was national. Nothing that was like, oh, this is a thing with this guy,
which is unbelievable.
I think
fucking Verlander is married to Kate Upton, and he's not in anything. Like that's how ridiculous it is. His wife is a big star. It's like, how the fuck are you not in some shit?
Right. Well, I think that it's a different. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like when's
they're
the last
bad
time,
at it.
Yeah,
the answer is we're bad at it. They're no good at it. The players are
you
dumb.
guys shut the fuck up.
Look,
shut up. One of the things that Michael Jordan used to promote and used to put out there was ballpark hot dogs. When is the last time you saw a commercial for ballpark hot dogs?
What are you
Ever.
picking, the one outlier? I mean, you got to do a lot of these.
But
and
no,
some of
but
them
listen,
stick.
like, okay, so that was one thing that was pushed. He was pushing. He used to push
Yeah.
Rayovac batteries. Okay, when's the last time you saw a battery commercial?
I saw a battery commercial today.
Where? Where did you see a battery commercial today?
The fucking Energizer Bunny is on TV 14 times a day.
Fuck that guy. He doesn't. He's not in the conversation.
Chris
Chris,
Sale should be blowing up.
You're right. You're
Chris
okay.
Sale
You're right.
should be blowing up an Energizer Bunny with a fastball for Duracell. That's what should be happening.
My Sox Summer, I'm missing your point. What's the point?
The point is I don't know that advertising is the same as it was in the 90s as it is today. I think there is different ways and more, I would say, more effective ways to get your product in front of the people that need to buy it. If it's and I would submit us as an example, as you have a huge beer place, beer manufacturer that has chosen for some godforsaken reason to choose us as like powering our hot tub show on the fucking internet that maybe reaches out to however many people.
Sure,
right?
but then look
It's
up,
a target marketed versus
look upstream from that. And Budweiser has like Charlize Theron doing commercials for them.
So yeah, I don't know.
Do I think beer drinking when I think of Charlize Theron? You couldn't get an MLB player to do that. Like you couldn't get a retired MLB player to do that. You couldn't get John Kruk to walk in there and crush 400 Budweisers.
It's because they stink at this. The only one who's shown themselves after retirement to be really good at changing their image and showing up in a lot of stuff. And showing up in a lot of stuff and getting himself in business deals. And now he's not always hawking products or anything, but he has gotten himself into really big business. Is A-Rod.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Spice
really
Adams.
the only one who's kind of gotten out there and made those inroads and kind of done this stuff. Like, what you need is players to be thinking like that. It brings me back to the NBA anyway in the 90s. Those guys all wore suits after the game because they were thinking about that next money they were going to make. And you need a forward. Yelling on the internet isn't going to win shit. They got to fight a real fight here, and they got to make themselves bigger than the owners. And the owners are smart. Like, the owners they don't innovate, right? I mean, we were talking about that. They're just collecting rent. But they're not dumbasses. They're going to line themselves up with lawyers, and they're going to kick your ass in a negotiation unless you figure out a way to become a little bigger than them, and then you have some hand. And players got to fucking.
Well, they have hand because they're the actual ones playing the game. So that's the biggest thing they have. But I don't know. I have to do so. I'm going to do some more thinking on this whole thing because maybe I'm not being as clear as I want to be with this. But I just feel like there's some things have changed. And yes, MLB has not grown, and the players really haven't grown with it. Right? You're still marketing it the same way as you probably did when you didn't need to worry about it. But I don't know. It just
my Sox Summer. I wasn't trying to say, one player should be pimping Gatorade. Like, obviously, I went out of my way to say they should be doing live streams of them playing a pickup game of baseball or doing weird shit like that. And Trees even brought up, just set up ad hoc home run derbies and stream that shit online. Create entertainment all the time out of what they're doing. The guy who's been kind of doing it, but he's such a weirdo that it's not going to really work for him is Trevor Bauer. Yeah, like Trevor Bauer has been going down this path and doing a lot of this stuff. He goes on podcast, he goes on like Pardon My Take or whatever, and he does his own shit on there and he creates some, and that's good. But he's a little bit too much of a weirdo. You're gonna need. I mean, he'll be fine as a bigger part of a bigger group, but like he can't be the guy who really pushed this over the edge. That's just my thought on this. I just think that they're not fighting fire with fire here. Like they don't know what game they're playing. Like they don't. It doesn't look like they understand it or that they're ever going to really have real hand to kind of push a negotiation other than like striking for a long time. And like striking is counterproductive for players in their prime. Like you really want to punt a year when you're going to make $20 million. Like that seems like a real bad idea. Like you got to have some real leverage, not just that.
Now with all that said, I'm going to say something that I don't think a lot of people are thinking right now, but I think that maybe with a few contingencies, the players should take this deal.
Ooh.
They might want to push back a little bit and try and get a little bit more, but I think the rev share is everyone keeps talking about taking the risk. Oh, why would they take on this risk? No one's talking about the reward. And the real risk here is that there's a second wave of COVID that's large enough that shuts down baseball. And let me just fill you guys in on something. If that happens, they're not getting paid anyway. Like even if they go, oh, we're going to do prorated salaries and we're going to be guaranteed money, that shit happens, they're going to be like, act of God, you can't get paid. So there's not as much risk as people are making out there to be in this scenario. There's a lot of reward. If it's truly going to be a 50-50 rev share, I don't know how true that is. And I don't know that the books will be opened to find out. But I think those are the kind of contingencies that you should be putting in place. But a lot of those things I mentioned earlier about like there should be, triple headers on Saturday and Sunday, and one should be Fox, one should be ESPN. MLB Network should be a lot more places. The playoffs need to be, signed up with someone for a certain amount of money, because that, like I said, there's going to be ad revenue.
There's going to be tons of ad revenue. It's
going to be the most expensive election that we've ever seen. There's going to be ad revenue. You thought J.B. Pritzker was on TV a lot? Holy shit, wait for this election.
Teresi, I don't know if you read, just sorry to butt in on this, but it works perfectly what you're talking about here. I don't know if you read Rob Hart's tweet the other day. He said that in, I think it was maybe Q4 of last year, the radio and TV and everything, ad revenues popped up a bunch, almost all on the strength of Mike Bloomberg's candidacy. Mm-hmm. He poured so much fucking money into everything, everywhere, that everyone was making money. And allegedly, he's going to do the same shit now for Biden. So you're totally right. You just start lining up for this shit. There's going to be so much money out there.
Oh, man. Between the Koch brothers for the Republican side, Bloomberg for the Democrat side, and Vince McMahon for Jesse the Body side.
I thought you were going to say Trump's charity for his side.
The money is going to be very long. But think about that. And think about it this way. You're going to have that extended playoffs, right? Kind of in the meatiest part of that. Man. All your playoff games are going to happen during that. If ESPN isn't just like taking all the fucking money they made off The Last Dance, putting it in a gigantic semi-truck and putting it on Rob Manfred's front door, I don't know what they're doing. So there's going to be a lot of money, and they might make a lot more than what they're trying to cry poor about. So if you can actually open the books, not only is that the great information that we were talking about, it might actually be a lot of fucking money. And why are you going to turn that down? Because, like I said,
there's a real option to make more. Why not try it?
The next step is the owners going, we're laying people off because of you guys.
Yeah, that's a real thing, and they're going to do it. I agree with you. I like that. That's their PR card to play. Could you imagine now, like you were talking about during the election cycle, can you imagine if MLB just opened up a window in the games, like the playoff games at night, and they left the window at like 8 o'clock for an hour so that you can get the debate in between the games? So like everyone goes from the playoff game, then we'll all watch the debate, then jump to the next West Coast playoff game or whatever. That would be amazing.
Well, I thought it was going to be like pop-up video from VH1 to be like, Trump wants to kill your grandfather.
Well, see,
Joe Biden molested women.
The thing about it is, I mean, ESPN is also ABC, right? So it's all
that's right.
It's all Disney owns everything, right? They own the whole world, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's.
They forced China to reopen so that they could open their park.
That's a
fact. So you could actually see a scenario where they do that, where they go like the games are on ABC before and after the debate.
Oh my God, just insanity.
Couple notes here on this topic. I know we eventually want to move on to some other stuff, but
we still have more to talk about this.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But,
Absolutely.
I want to get into a couple quick things here, and then I'll relent to you guys. The owners brought up or actually, it was Rob Manfred brought up that the owners could lose up to $4 billion, and everyone on the internet was like, "This is total bullshit." And I thought about it a little more, and And it is total bullshit because the way most people are thinking about it is they're thinking operating profit standpoint, right? They're thinking, like the data, like the year worth of what they did here, there's 0% chance every team, like on average, is going to lose $130 million. But maybe the way the owners are thinking about it is their valuations and the decrease in their valuations, because from that standpoint, it might make a little more sense because the every MLB team, based on Forbes, which is total bullshit anyway, but it's the best guess we have right now. Every team is above $1 billion in fair value. And so if, let's just say they took a 10% hit in fair value because of the uncertainty of future revenues, because you don't know how many people are going to put in stands or whatever, you can get to the $4 billion loss. It's a bullshit paper loss that they would never put back into the team if they got a gain. It may not entirely be lying, but it's still lying. So I just wanted to bring up the sort of the mark-to-market accounting standpoint and the fair value standpoint. I want to bring up.
This is why Hot Take Tommy likes you the most, Loaf, because you're the smart guy that puts out numbers like this. Shout out to the Sons of Anarchy podcast for letting us be brought up and talked about, discussed how fucking cool we are on their podcast. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was nice of them. Very sweet of those guys.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go back to being smart.
Couple questions for you guys. 3 different questions, real quick ones. What the fuck was J.B. Pritzker thinking?
Oh my God. Hey,
I don't even know what happened. What happened?
You didn't hear what he said?
He wanted the players to stop.
Hold on, I'll get the quote.
You get the exact quote. J.B. Pritzker 2 days ago was complaining about the players, about them and their high salaries and holding out for more money. Now he went back the next day and apologized for this shit. But what?
Okay, so here's the apology.
You got the quote, or you got just the apology?
He said, fuck.
He
said off.
The guy, I don't understand what he thought he was doing there other than just like he had a slip of consciousness. He's like, I got to stick up for my billionaire friends.
Right.
What the fuck? Like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, oh no, a lot of us are.
Okay, here you go. Here's the long ass fucking quote. I realize that the players have a right to haggle over their salaries, but we do live in a moment where the people of Illinois and the people of the United States deserve to get their pastime back, to watch anyway on television. If they're able to come up with safety precautions, blah, 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 by MLB, that works. I hope the players understand that that the people of the United States need to recognize this as an important part of leisure time that all of us want to have in the summer, to watch them play baseball, to root for our favorite teams. We need that back. We need the normalcy. I must say I'm disappointed in many ways that the players are holding out for these very, very high salaries and payments during the time when I think everybody is sacrificing.
This is I mean, we're getting more and more of this.
Like a multi-billionaire.
This is the buck stops there. Like it's like you see it all over the place now. Like the owner can't possibly be the problem. Like it's the guy who's actually in charge. Fuck that. Not his fault. The worker on the line, that guy's fault. Fuck him. That's the guy that infected your chicken. That guy.
It's just, this is the thing that I in Polish with XRL News was arguing with a guy on Twitter last night about it, and the guy was like, they signed the deal and they should fucking take this money and they should just do it because that's the right thing to do. And there's a lot of people that would do this for free because they want to do this. And like, that is the most fucking god-awful, ridiculous fucking statement I've ever heard in my entire life. And mostly because no one would ever do what they do for a living for free. Maybe they would, but that would be because they didn't need money, because we were living on some fucking utopia where we have whatever, like little, mermaids and narwhals and all this shit flying around. It's a fun, happy, fucking fun time, and people are giving us food, and it's all free, right?
I hate the fucking people would do this for free. Yeah, of course they do it for free. They do it right now. People fuck for free right now too. I don't want to watch it.
Right.
I want to see J-Mac.
That's a good call. But no, one of the things that they said, and then now you guys have talked about the profit share too, is it's like, like these owners made these deals thinking that they were going to make this kind of income. Well, it's like, okay, well, if you agree with like, okay, well, the owners aren't going to make so much money, so the players shouldn't make as much money. Then you have to say, okay, but when the owners make more money, then they need to give back more money. And the owners aren't going to do that. No one's going to do that. So that's where the argument is done. I did some homework, and I, of course, have some show notes. And one of the things that I think people don't understand is that a baseball player has about a 5-year to 6-year career. Most baseball players. It's not
like an average career.
It's not like everybody gets $1 million or $3 million a year and is in the league for 10 years and has $30 million when they leave. It is most of the time these guys aren't making that much. 1 in 5 baseball players have a 1-year career. So that's 20% of the people that play professional baseball for 1 fucking year.
Let me add something to that real quick, because I get the point you're making, and I think makes it even more important. Is it's 1 year in the majors. They probably had to play 4 or 5 years for like $7,000 a year in the minors to get to that point. So you're talking about 6 years to make that $1 million or $300,000 or whatever they made.
Yeah, no, you're exactly. It is like what is, and I think this is what normal people and us normal folk need to think about, is if somebody told you, yes, you can do exactly what you want to do, but you can only do it for 5 years. And you have a 5-year window to make as much money as possible. Are you going to go out and just take whatever just to play because of the love of the game, when you know this is one of your years that you're gonna lose, and you're not gonna be able to then capitalize on your money making ability here? I just think it's just really hard to tell somebody that makes that kind of money, oh, you don't deserve this, or you shouldn't be able to get this.
That's a tremendous point.
You're greedy.
That's a tremendous
There's a lot of
point.
fucking people that work normal, regular-ass jobs that don't deserve their fucking salaries, okay? And they don't go out on a baseball field and try to hit a ball or catch a ball, or it just bugs the shit out of me when people side up with fucking multi-billionaires and say, oh yeah, no, those guys, they're the ones that have everybody's best interest at heart. And then those same guys will then call Jerry cheap and call him an asshole, but still want to make sure that his money is still there and saved. It's like, I don't understand this. Who is supposed to get this money? Are we supposed to get the money as fans, or the guys playing the game, or the guys that took the fucking risk? I don't know. I really, it's very fucking confusing some days when I get on the internet.
It's like someone, you're totally right. They protect his money, and then they're mad that he got his money. I don't get it. You're exactly right. People do this shit all the time.
They do. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. Why won't you
spend all this money on the greedy motherfuckers that we don't want to have any money?
That's 100%.
My next guy, Mark Teixeira. How the fuck can he go out there and have a public stance? He had the.
I have his quote too. I have his quote ready.
His quote? You want to read it? Go ahead.
Yes. Mark Teixeira said, players need to understand that if they turn this deal down and shut the sport down, they're not making a cent. Teixeira said on ESPN early Tuesday, I would rather make pennies on the dollar and give hope to people and play baseball than not make anything and then lose an entire year off their career.
Yeah, when he had a fucking albatross contract, I'm sure he was going, I'll give this all back. Put me on the best team.
Yes.
Old Mark Teixeira made himself $180 million when he played.
Okay, you had to know. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
He's sitting from a position where now he can say that he would play for pennies on the dollar. I actually think we should, as a baseball community, we should go out on Twitter and shame Mark Teixeira for this. Not mean stuff, but let's just fuck with him constantly and troll his ass all over the place, because this is such a stupid stance. He didn't even go to the it is a sacrifice. I really wish that they would work it out, because it would be good. No, he said they should play for pennies on the dollar. He basically told all the other players, fuck you, I made my money. Now I don't care about you making your money. Help me make my ESPN money now. Get your ass out there. All right.
Yeah.
This isn't even stupid Adam Eaton stuff where you're like, okay, I get that. I kind of understand what the point Adam Eaton is trying to make about, how much more he values things because of the struggle, even though it was like really stupid. This is
it was
blatant, like, fuck you guys. I got mine. Now I don't care if you ever get yours.
Right. Yeah, the Adam Eaton thing could have been construed or even worded better to just say like, well, the hardships help you a little bit. Not that people shouldn't get the money, but you know what? Having nothing does kind of help you get more hungry or whatever. He could have spun that a little better. This you can't spin in any fucking way that makes any sense.
No. Unless he wants to give it some of his money to help get the season going. Like if he said, I got $15 million laying around. I'm gonna give it to a bunch of the guys that are 26 through 30 on these rosters who are never gonna make this money again. I'm gonna pack that money in for those guys so that they can all play. I'm in. Go ahead, Mark. I'm good with that.
I would love it. I'd applaud it.
I wonder if Tex has like some political aspirations and he's trying to appeal to the general public. And like anytime I fucking hear, it irks me too. People they owe us something. Like the players owe us. The players don't owe us fucking shit. And it's just like another thing, it just drives me fucking crazy. And I'm not looking at baseball to fucking give me hope during the middle of a fucking pandemic. I'm not, okay? I'm
looking at scientists to give me hope.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Treasy. It's a fucking goddamn sad state of affairs when we have to look to fucking goddamn athletes to give us hope rather than like elected leaders in our community, all these fucking people. Like, that's not the world I fucking live in. I know that's not the world you guys live in. We're not we're not like, God damn it, Daniel Palka, give us some goddamn fucking hope, okay? Or, hey, Jose Abreu, I know you have no idea what's going on over here, but please give us some goddamn hope and just play baseball. To watch you ground out to second, in the bottom of the seventh on a random Thursday will make me so much happier than I am right now. It's ridiculous. It's a way to try to guilt somebody into doing something that they might not want to do. And God bless Blake Snell for not fucking falling for that bullshit. God bless whoever thought that Trevor Bauer would become likable and we would like him and think that he's actually on the right side of a debate. That we're talking. Like,
he's still
certainly
very weird,
not me, because I fucking hate that motherfucker. But like, just the finally, like him going after Phil Rogers today was fucking hilarious. God, that was so
wonderful.
fucking funny.
That was a tremendous tweet. I'm very proud of Trevor Bauer for that one.
Phil's a weird dude, man, because he's tweeted at me and like when I was talking to
who's that?
Layla
Phil Rogers?
Rahimi. I think it was Layla Rahimi, and he said yes, and he said something about people shouldn't say something that I had said, and I was just like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, Phil. So I didn't respond to him because I just was like, this is some guy that's all horned up, just talking, trying to get in Layla's pants. That's all he was trying to do.
Best way to handle Phil Rogers is to just not respond. But if you're going to, it should be someone like Trevor Bauer who's just going to drag him under the bus.
Right.
Down the road 6 miles. All right. So one thing I wanted to touch on with this and I talk to you guys about the expanded playoffs. This shit sounds awesome to me. I don't know that I want it to stick around because I do like that a smaller group of teams gets into the playoffs in the majors. So expanding it is not necessarily something I'm down for forever, but the way that they laid this out I think it's pretty excellent. Like the idea of all the wild card games being played in a single stadium is something like
that
those best of 3 series. They're all like whoever is the best team out of those,
they get all the home games. Yeah, I like that.
And other teams are playing in their park. I fucking love it.
Yep.
They had pitched this before, but I really like this idea. Is the pick the team you're going to play, because I don't know if there's anything that's going to get a team going more than some team going, we want to play your ass. We think you're the easy team to beat. Like that might be the best like Jordan was doing for everybody, where he just
He
made
was
it
like
up in his head.
self-motivating. Yeah,
Like-
exactly. It was just him.
Like, this is real. This is a real thing where they're going, you're the worst thing. We want to play you.
Yeah.
The only thing that takes the fun out of it, though, is that they're gonna just use the data to figure out who the weakest matchup for them is, and do that. So I agree with you. It adds a motivation, but like the edges will be bigger for the teams that get to pick, because they're gonna, well, at least the ones that get like the first pick, because they're gonna pick the most optimal matchup for themselves.
They're going to do it by the data, but in the locker room, that's not how it's going to be said.
Well, that's true. I agree with that.
Now, are you sure that that's how it is? Because there's teams, and I want to say maybe one of our favorite team might be a little behind on analytics. Is there other teams that are a little behind on analytics that maybe won't be able to hit the numbers so well, and they'll just make some like deep in the nutsack call, like, man, oh, fuck the Yankees. They're going to fucking fight the Yankees. Let's go. Let's take them out right now. Let's just take those guys.
No, I mean, some of it'll be like, yeah, they need to go real deep in the data. Some of it'll be, yeah, their ace and their number 2 pitcher had to pitch the last 2 days of the season, so neither one of them are available in the first 2 games. Like, type stuff. Like, oh, okay, they got to throw their 3 and 4 or their 4 and 5 starters for these games. So, okay, that's the team we're going to pick, because we know we got sort of a big advantage against them. I think that, like, there's going to be some of that sort of thing. Now, that's good, actually, especially for a short series. Give the team that won more during the regular season a little bit bigger edge. Baseball is still a game where you play real tight. Like, it's tough. Teams don't lose. Like, it's not like in the NBA where a team will get like only 20 wins out of 80 games or some shit like that. Like, everyone wins at least 35, 38% of their games. So it's not that big of an advantage there, I guess. Now, I do like the expanded playoffs. I think I like them kind of in general. I'm anti. I'm not anti the old establishment who kind of likes the short playoffs, because you want to just harness the best teams. Like the kind of, there is a traditionalist thing where they want just the very best teams to be in there. They want the pennant races to matter. And like now, when you put 7 teams in each conference in there, or not conference, in each league in there,
right?
That shit's not going to matter. Like, some 500 or below 500 teams probably going to make it. But I kind of like the expanded. I like the excitement of all that shit, and also I like the chance that my team gets in the tournament and some lucky shit could happen. So
Yeah.
I'm pro bigger playoffs, even though I know a lot of baseball traditionalists are not.
A lot of baseball traditionalists probably still don't think black people should be playing in the major leagues. So I mean, it's not like a stretch here. What just happened is Teresi went and used his facilities, and right when we started this call, Loaf had said, "Oh, look at him in his house pants," and I didn't see them, and now I just saw Teresi in his house pants, and I wish we were on video, because it was so cool to see him come back in his little flannel house pants and then sit back down at the chair. I was like, man, he is comfy. He's a
I'll
comfy
stand up and give you a little.
Look at
Wow,
he's really giving it to you there.
Yeah,
see, you should be wearing the Zubaz. Is what you should be wearing.
These are my Bulls pajama pants.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Only the Bulls.
So what I was a little bit surprised about. I heard that, I think we all heard that there was going to be like 3 divisions with 10 teams. But it's really not that. They're keeping the same divisions.
Yep.
It's just there's 10 teams that you're basically going to play most of the time, or all of the time. I didn't get
all the time. Yeah.
Right?
So regionally. So the way it's going to work is you're going to play the teams in your division. This was like a rough sketch of the schedule. You're going to play the teams in your division 12 times. So that's 48 games. And then you're going to play the teams in the same jurisdiction on the other side of the league. So like for the AL Central teams, you're going to play the NL Central teams. You're going to play each of them 6 times. So that's 30 games. So 30 and 48, 78 games. So I think the plan was to do like a 78-game schedule in which you would stay kind of close to home. You'd be playing like almost a regional schedule. There's a few exceptions because like the West divisions get a little funky. And I have the NL Central in front of me, and like the Pirates are in it, so they're very far east, but still.
Well, not that far east, because they're you You could get to that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The kind of interesting thing with that kind of, you're playing all these same teams all the time, is like the amount of like Yankees, Mets, and Cubs Sox that you're gonna get. I think that's something that like is not in a normal season, but I think people would go pretty nuts for. I think those games are gonna be pretty highly rated on television. I mean, there's nothing else to watch. Plus, it's, as much as people downplay the rivalry, it's it's there. Like people care about that. And I was wondering this. I know there's supposed to be no fans at these games, right?
Yep.
But if you were to say, I want to have some fans at the game, could theoretically, could MLB go, we're going to have just people in the skyboxes. That's all it's going to be. So that those people are separated from one another, right? You could just have like a few people in each skybox.
Mm.
What could you charge for a Cubs Sox game skybox where you're one of like 100 people in the park?
I'll tell you who's in that skybox. JB Pritzker.
Yes.
He's the only one that's going to be able to afford it.
Well, just because he wants some hope.
That's right.
Hope and a shitload of funnel cake. So,
man, I got my balcony doors open. Someone's smoking some hope right now.
Yeah, fuck yes. I wish I could smoke it, but I feel like if I smoked pot, I would immediately go back to buying cigarettes and smoking cigarettes. I can't risk that.
Teresa, I think you could charge a pretty penny for that. Actually, I think you charge a pretty penny for anywhere in the stadium. Like they could reset the pricing here. Well, they could in theory, had they not already sold all these tickets. I mean, obviously you can't go back now and retrade on these. I mean, at least we hope they can't.
I'm going to say you can't.
Like they're trying to do with the players, At least we'd like them not to do that, right? Do you think
that would be fun though to negotiate that in our own way? That would just be fun. Oh my god, that would be so much fun.
Well, what if they did? What if they didn't even do that? What if they just said, you people that have skyboxes, we're going to charge you for the 41 home games, and you can feel free to come to these games, but you can only have 5 other people in your box with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd get a fight from the people who are doing it because a lot of times they're trying to entertain clients and they really want more than 5 people in there. So I think you're going to get some fight back in that situation. But you never know. Maybe they could leverage it. Maybe it's kind of a unique experience, right? I mean, it's might be a once in a generation thing, assuming that some clarity comes to this by next summer and you're not living the same lifestyle. It could be kind of a weird, interesting experience for people.
No. I went to the Cubs Sox game that there was 142 people at.
Right.
Like I could see it in New York the same, right? Like it was Yankees Mets. There was 232 people in the game.
It'd be insane.
I was one of them. Here's my ticket stub.
Seinfeld will be there for sure.
Oh, Seinfeld will be at every Mets game.
Him and Chris Rock will both be there.
That would be awesome if they were just in a suite like 6 feet apart, just watching with masks on, watching every game.
It's like thumbs up to each other and shit.
I can only imagine. You would think our buddy Brooks Boyer would get us in those games, though. He's like, we got to get these guys in. They'll do something crazy. Let's do it, man. Come on.
I don't think they want anyone doing anything crazy.
Come on. They should do. Listen, they might say that they don't, but they actually do, and they know that we can read their minds. So don't worry about it. We'll just be there.
Get these guys in there. They'll spit on each other on camera. Is that the kind of crazy you're thinking of, my sex summer, or no?
No, I don't want to lose you, man. You're the smart one. We can't lose you. We need you. I don't want to hock a lug on you and you get sick and then like, oh shit, that'd be no good, man. Totally no good. Plus you have the hot tub. Man, we lose a lot if we lose you. So we have to make sure that you're taken care of very well.
I appreciate that, baby.
That's true.
I'm not the smart one, but I do have the hot tub, yes.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about on this baseball thing? Is there any other topics?
I got a couple. I got a couple quick things, and it's a little more on the owner's side of the thing.
Okay.
I was thinking about this. The owners are kind of like their own monopoly, right? I mean, they have antitrust protection and all this stuff. But what if they weren't? I was just brainstorming. What if they weren't? What if the teams that are really crying poor, because not everyone has the same cable deal. Not everyone has the same operations, different payrolls and all this stuff. So some teams actually, if they go through with this, some teams are going to be fine, and some teams will take a shit, and they'll be in real bad shape, right, in theory. What if those teams, what if they unbonded each other, and it's like those teams are forced to fucking sell? Could you imagine if there were teams in certain markets, they were fucked up so bad, like mid-season, they got to sell to somebody, like Mark Cuban's there to fucking gobble up a team and grab a team?
I love this so much. Like, I can't think of something better. Like, because it still infuriates me that the league was like, hey, Wilpons, I know you gave all your money to Bernie Madoff. We'll take care of this mess. Don't worry. We'll mop this up for you.
That's right.
Like, they should have been like, fuck you. You got to sell this.
The only people they made sell was the McCourts because they were acting like idiots with their divorce and shit. And they're like, we'll bring Magic Johnson in to broker this and shit. But the Wilpons to do whatever the fuck they want, no sell. It was like, okay, hang on to the team. We don't care. You siphon off the profits to pay off all your other bullshit. No problem. Don't worry about it.
That game should have been, or that team should have been won in an underground card game in Brooklyn. Like, that's like what should have happened.
On that same tip, it got me thinking, like, what if those teams that were in trouble, those distressed teams, what if they just had to fucking sell off their higher priced guys for pennies on the dollar? You remember Babe Ruth got sold, right? I mean, can you imagine nice distressed assets? Like, the teams to be lining up to buy up good players for contracts that the teams can't afford anymore, and they don't have to fucking give up anything to give up some low-level prospects. Like, give me all that shit right there. It would be amazing. I would love it so much. It'd be like teams getting ready to go into bankruptcy, and you're just saving them. It's like Chapter 11. They're picking the bones and shit.
Can we redo the Cleveland Spiders, where one owner owned two teams and just traded all the good players to himself on the team he liked?
That's what's going to happen here.
Then the Cleveland Spiders were the worst team in like the history of baseball. Like, they traded like Warren Spahn for like a bag of baseballs. It's amazing. If you've never heard this story, go look it up, because it's one of the most outrageous things that's ever been allowed to happen in sports.
That's kind of how they did it, though, right? Didn't Vac used to do that too, where he'd trade, like Minnie Minoso would be traded at the end of the season to like whatever team like might need him, and then he would be back like right after that, like if the playoff run was over. I mean, yeah,
things were different back then. You could sell a guy, basically. You could sell a player. Now you can't do it anymore. But
my Sack Summer, this would have been Bill Veeck owned two teams, and he traded his best player for nothing to the other
team.
Yeah.
God, busy being that coach.
You'd be so pissed.
It's basically Lou Brown's job.
And then my last scenario with regards to this was, if you get teams in dire straits and they're going to fail or whatever, fuck them. They just don't get to play anymore. So if we get down to 26 teams during the season, those teams are just gone. Treat it like a real business. Oh, that restaurant down the street failed. Oh, that Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team failed, so they're not in the league anymore. They just fell the fuck out of it. Like, I want to see some real shit happen here.
I only want this if the stadium like gets shuttered, like with the like plywood over the windows.
They put the for lease sign up on the stadium. Like,
no. Who are the people that are in Chicago? It's like Board Up Chicago. They have like their logo on the plywood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was exactly that, like the stencil on the plywood. Like, I want that. I want all of that.
Yep. That would be the shit. Agreed.
All right, that's all I got. Those are all my weird ideas on the baseball situation trees. I've emptied my notebook on you guys.
Man, I love it. My suck summer. You got anything else before we get into the
No,
next thing?
no, I have gone off on enough tangents in this part of the podcast, so I am finished right now.
All right. Well, that was a lot of baseball. So now it's time to get into some bullshit.
Hell yeah!
You're damn
I mean,
right.
Mother's Day just passed, and let me just say, Twitter was far too horny on Mother's Day.
Unbelievably horny.
So I don't know if you guys saw this, but MILFs was trending on Father's Day was trending also on Mother's Day, but MILFs was trending on Mother's Day. What do you guys think about this?
You know, I actually put a PSA out there. I messaged you guys. I'm like, it just seems like it's too horny out there, and you guys are like, yeah, I kind of agree. So I put PSA, just take one day off from being horny for other people's moms. You know, it'd be a nice thing to do for their moms is not get so horny. But when I was thinking about it a little bit, it kind of makes sense, right? That Twitter would be all milfed up and hornied up. Think about the average age of the Twitter user. They're probably like an 18 to 25 basket right there is the average person on Twitter. And lots of males. I would guess there's more men than women on Twitter. Now, that might not be fair because we're in a White Sox ecosystem, so there's more men in that. But maybe it's. But I kind of think that, you know, nerdy guys are
chicks are more on Twitter. Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably a better breakdown. And then you look, you're an 18 to 25 male, and you're looking on Twitter, and the 25 to 50 range woman is getting an awful lot of praise. Good-looking moms are getting an awful lot of praise and pictures, and they get flowers, and they're feeling good and everything. And your hormones are just going berserk, especially because you've been in the house for 2 months. So I think the build-up makes sense to me. Like, I was able to do the algebra and get to, holy shit, these young dudes is horny as fuck right now.
Man, that's a stretch, right? I mean, young guys are horny as fuck, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they haven't been able to go outside for almost 3 months, but yeah, they're horny. Imagine that.
Go ahead, my suck summer. I think
I just want to tear you apart for a minute there, Beef Loaf.
Come at me, bro.
Because first off, and I don't want to get okay. First thing I want to talk about is the snub that came from our friends over at Barstool.
Okay.
They gave a birthday shout out to our favorite MILFs out there. A lot of stepmoms. I think it was Lisa Ann. I think it was Julia Ann. And I can't remember the other two. But one woman that was left off of that whole list was the infamous Corey Chase, who is America's stepmom. Okay. And we had a discussion about this pre-podcast. And I think part of the problem from Barstool, at least was with Corey, is in some of Corey's movies, you can't tell if she's the actual mom or the stepmom. So maybe they thought that they just didn't want to cross the line too much, like the line between parody and this like really weird, creepy shit. They didn't want to cross it, so maybe that's why she got left off. And I can kind of understand that, I suppose. But I feel like Corey Chase definitely needed to be recognized on her day, which would be stepmother's porn, because stepmoms are still moms.
Or Mother's Day. You don't know.
Or Mother's Day. Yep.
Stepmoms
you should email her.
Moms.
Email her and ask her actual relation to Lena Paul.
Yeah.
That your stepdaughter or your actual daughter?
Look,
oh my God.
Tell her you'd like to see the birth certificates just to make sure, and her marriage certificate. You got to verify this legally,
yes.
All right? Otherwise, we can't believe it, all right?
So now, second thing, you were specifically stating that one player should not have posted a picture of his mom on the Twitters.
No, I wasn't saying he shouldn't have posted a picture of his mom. I was kind of outraged at how horny everyone was getting at Christian Yelich's mom. Now, She's a beautiful woman, very good-looking woman, but the amount of horniness that was really generated towards her, to me, was unfair. Like, he's just trying to have a little day with his mom. Now, he's a public figure, If you want to talk shit to him, that's fine. But I don't think going to the I'm going to fuck your mom joke is where it's at. You can't do that. That's bullshit. He has the right to kick everyone's ass who got too horny about his mom on Twitter. That's my take, okay?
That fucking guy's all write it up, man. He'll fuck you up.
I want to put it out there that quite possibly, maybe she asked for her Mother's Day present for him to post a picture of him with her so people knew that was her son, and maybe she could catch a little side action from some young stud on the Twitter that maybe wants to, give it to his mom. You don't know. Maybe she's really can't talk to people. Maybe she's not as social as you or I or your brother. Maybe she just has a tough thing and she needs that to maybe get some interactions in the DMs from some nice gentlemen. I'm sure.
This might be your worst take.
but it might be your best personal fantasy. Yeah, I think a woman of that level of attractiveness, I think she should she want to have relations with good-looking gentlemen out there, I think she can handle it without getting anything in the Twitter DMs. That's just my guess. I'm just playing the percentages here.
Let's just hope that the Brewers don't sign Avi Garcia. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh man, he could definitely put one down in her town. That's for sure.
When I saw,
wait a second.
Avi Garcia. Got more? You got more? You got a third point?
Avi did get signed by the Brewers.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all coming together now, baby.
Did you just say let's just oh yeah, okay, now I get it. All right. The pill is kicking in, folks. The pill is kicking in. Because I'm like, wait a second. He has been signed. And now yeah. Oh boy. Okay, here we go, boys.
So when I saw MILFs trending on Mother's Day, the thing that came to mind was, and maybe this isn't the origin of it, it's the first time I heard it. I was like, how is something from American Pie trending? Like, why is something from that movie still relevant at this point? And then I realized that 94% of porn can be traced back to American Pie and Clueless. Paul Rudd was much more of an innovator than we knew. Not even the fact that he found the Fountain of Youth. He was doing the stepbrother thing long before anyone else.
Oh, that's true. That's a good pull right there.
And so between those two movies, that's the entirety of Pornhub now. That's all that there is. There's Clueless and American Pie remakes all day on there.
Let me ask you a question, Treasy. Between Paul Rudd's character in Clueless and Tony Montana, can you find anyone in between there time-wise who's hornier for a sibling?
No.
Because Tony Montana killed his best friend over his sister, and, I'm just reading between the lines there. That's all I'm saying.
Tony Montana's got I mean, he would be way into what's on the internet right now. Let me just say that.
He would.
That would be his... That would be his bag of tricks. He would, well, maybe not. Maybe he'd spend so much time inside that he would have just let shit happen that didn't need to involve him.
Yeah.
He would have come to America to watch porn freely on the internet rather than try to make a better life for himself. He just would have got here, and he's like, as long as I don't have dial-up, I'm totally okay. I am going to just jerk myself into oblivion and maybe I'll get a nice job down at the corner store and make some tacos. Maybe I'll roll some cigars. But as long as I have my subscription to all these porn things, I will be fine.
Well, imagine he gets to the point with Frank, where he's making some money. He's working under Frank, and then he's gonna kill him, and Frank just turns a laptop towards him and shows him one of those, what do they call it? Faucest or whatever they call it. Shows him one of those, and Tony's just like, all right, Frank, I'm gonna let you live. I'll keep working underneath you, and we're good. He he could have eked out a nice meager living doing that. He wouldn't even had to hang F. Murray Abraham from a helicopter.
And his friend wouldn't have gotten chopped up with a chainsaw in a bathroom.
Oh, no. That still would have happened.
That still has to happen.
Yeah, I'm a couple scenes past. The Angel Hernandez is not available for this. Angel's gone, but
man.
But Manolo lives because then like he's not as concerned with his sister. You know, he's just in that room with the pile of cocaine and 2 forearms like Popeye.
Yes.
Well, God damn it, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Fuck.
Uh-oh, is he back? Is he back?
Baby.
Right.
Nice.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I got kicked on my own computer. Couldn't get back in here with you guys.
We just talked shit about you for a little.
Too much sexy in here.
We talked a lot of nonsense, so it's probably all going to get cut. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where we cut this back in.
I doubt it.
No, I mean, I probably will, but we'll see. We'll see. All right.
Now,
So
the moment you've all been waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, so with the whole MILF thing and the Christian Yelich's mom thing, it was like, to me, it was just kind of sad in like, why is our horniness at this level? You know, it just is upsetting. But now let's talk jerking off. All right. So we're going to do a draft. And this draft is your favorite JO publication that is not porn.
Yeah, no porno mag.
Not porn, but has led you to some self-exploration, let's say.
Allegedly.
All right. So we're gonna do snake like we usually do, snake draft. We're gonna do 4 rounds like we usually do. Basically this has to be on some sort of printable material, and it has to have been a publication sometime.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it cannot be pornography, like
Right.
straight up dirty porn. Can't be that. That's
Right.
not what we're talking here. So I will let My Sock Summer go first.
Woo! I love it.
Beef can go second.
Okay.
I'll turn it around.
Now, there's a lot of different magazines and publications that you could pick to be number one. But this is, and there's things that people haven't heard of that are probably very close to porn. But I'm not going to go with like some of those strong magazines first. I'm going to go with the one that everybody knows and is probably the best one, the easiest one, was available to you all the way in the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, 2000s, has featured Kate Upton, Tyra Banks, Elle McPherson, Paulina what's her name? Shit. Anyway, fuck her. I forgot her name. Kathy Ireland, Cheryl Teagues, Christy Brinkley. The Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, baby. It has to be the overall number one publication to jerk off to. Probably slayed a lot of kittens in the kitchen than any other magazine that is available on a regular newsstand. It can be sold to you at any age. And most people got it for free, or got the subscription and got their free football phone, and they can jerk off the SI Swimsuit Edition anytime they want.
I mean, that's the obvious number one.
Has to be.
I think that's a strong number one overall pick. Beef Loaf, what do you got number 2?
Number 2, I'm going to go with my number 1 overall on my board. I actually had this ahead of the Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, even though Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition is a classic. It's kind of, the older demo in the group is going to know that really well. The guys around our age, though, this magazine in particular was a fucking powerhouse.
Where's Waldo?
With covers with Kate Upton, Eva Longoria, Megan Fox, We're going to go with Maxim, number 2 overall.
Did you say Evan Longoria?
Eva Longoria.
Oh, okay.
And
You said
Evan
Evan.
Longoria.
And him too. I saw a schlong on there.
I
So
feel
you
like
took
this.
Maxim?
Yeah, I feel like Maxim was definitely kind of top of list for this category. I remember I had a former roommate. There was a Rachel Ray issue of that, wasn't there? I think there was.
I believe it.
I'm pretty sure that got some play in the apartment I used to live in. Not necessarily by me.
Allegedly.
All right. So I got the turnaround. So at number 3, I think this, if you think about it, could have been number 1. But you guys probably didn't. I don't know if you have this on your list, but
Okay.
I think it's definitely one that you would get in the gas station lineup there.
Yep.
The Lowrider magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
good call.
Yes.
That's a very good call. I did not have that on my list, but that's a huge mistake because that is a great call right there.
Oh, man. They used to have the big booty girls in it. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's the
Mhm.
cover of every Lowrider magazine for the last 45 years.
And they used to seal it. Like sometimes it would be sealed in plastic. I remember them being sealed in plastic, and they would be like, oh, because it includes a poster. But it was mostly just to stop guys from jacking off into the magazine so they could still sell it.
At the
Losing
store.
record
At the gas
profits.
station.
Store?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
at the gas
They were
station.
losing profits based upon guys ruining the magazines with their cum. So they had to encase it in plastic and then said, we have to cover it up with something. So let's put a free poster in there. That'd be great. It's a big rip. It's going to be sponsored by Dub. It's all good. Don't worry about it.
I thought you were going to say it came with the pages pre-stuck together.
No.
See, I don't know what stores you were shopping at because everywhere I would go, there would be a sign near there that would say, "You splooge it, you buy it." So like that was never. I never saw them in plastic. Maybe
That was the second most known sign from Clerks. The first one was, please inform us if you're going to shoplift. The second one was, please let us know if you plan to come in our magazines.
I should take Mini Trucking Magazine now just because of that, but I'm not going to. So my next pick is basically this was I'm pretty sure they called it this too, the hip hop culture version of Maxim, which was King. Do you remember King?
No.
I want you
Yes, I do.
I want you to
I'll
go
Google
look
it.
up Stacy Dash King. Before we all knew she was insane, but nevertheless, this is back, a little after the coolest days.
Oh man, Stacey King was bad, man. She
Oh,
was
Stacey Dash.
so hot.
Stacey King, very different.
Your brother has male athletes on the line right now. I want to know what his next pick's going to be. Because something tells me it's going to be like Men's Health or something. I don't know.
Next up for beef is Beckett baseball.
Man, Stacey Dash had a fastball. My Lord.
yeah,
You
she
kidding?
did.
Yeah.
Now she just beats the shit out of her husband. Yeah.
She's in that Kanye video, right? She's like the star of that, like one of Kanye's very first songs that was famous. She's in the video and she looks amazing.
Damn.
Beef, you're up, man.
I'm up. I can't believe this is still on the board at 5. And for me, you were talking about the asses and Lowrider. For me, as a more mainstream magazine, this was the first magazine that let you know about Vita Guerra and let you know about her big fat ass and sort of introduced everyone else to big fat asses. But it also had beautiful women like Halle Berry and Terry Hatcher as covers of it. I'm going to go with FHM.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
I fucking hate you.
For Him magazine.
Yep.
So many hot women in those.
I mean,
those
that
magazines.
definitely sounds like this category.
So that was going to be my next pick, and I'm really pissed that you took it. But
Well, you got to do 2 now. So
I know, and
so come
that
strong.
fucking makes it even worse. So
Pun intended.
I used to have a subscription to Maxim, FHM, and then which will be one of my picks. I'll take this, even though it's like I don't know. I mean, it's like the attainable chick at the bar now, next to Maxim and FHM. I'm gonna take Stuff. Is because that was in the same vein. But I used to have a subscription to all 3 of those magazines, and literally, I gave all of them up. I canceled all the subscriptions except for the FHM, because I was like, the same story would be in Maxim 1 month, Stuff the next month, and then FHM the following month. So like they just kept recycling the same stuff. So I was like, I don't need to see this. And FHM was like easily the horniest one out of the 3, like the best, best chicks and everything. And now and I know this isn't fair, so I'm not going to do it, because I would say I want the European version of FHM, because that showed straight titty. Like you could get everything in that. It didn't cover anything up. So I will take Stuff for my first pick, and my second pick, I'm going to take something a little off the wall. And this is something that, well, no, I'm not going to take it, because neither one of you guys are going to fucking take that.
No, I like it. I like how you're going to sandbag a good pick for the end.
Yeah, because I think I'm gonna wait. So I'm taking Stuff, and then the second pick, I'm gonna take Esquire magazine. And the reason I'm gonna take Esquire is not necessarily because of Esquire now, but Esquire back in the day, especially the days when I needed to rely on magazines to JO to. They would have a whole freaking issue dedicated to the year of sex, right? And you were guaranteed to see some nip somewhere up in that, and like these are the years that we're watching porn through scrambled
Spice Channel.
Yeah, exactly. And we just needed audio. We didn't even really need the fucking visual. We could get a little audio. Like, you imagine the damage that we could do on ourselves if we just saw a little nipple. So I mean, this was endless, right? And then so that's something that the kids nowadays just don't understand. It's like we did not have 3-way fucking lesbian orgies available to us on the same thing that we could download the day's homework. Like that's just not. That wasn't how it was. Like we had to figure shit out. We had to go over to like the encyclopedias and like look that shit up. And then you had to sometimes pretend that you could use the Dewey Decimal System to figure out how to use the card, the little card thing at the library. Like, and whatever. It was all fucking really hard. But yeah, I'm going to take Esquire because you might see some titty in the year of sex episode. And the year of, you know what I'm trying to say. So fuck.
Yeah, you got it.
No, I do not. But
everyone drinks.
The edition, the year of sex edition of that magazine. The once time a year they would get real dirty and they would show some titty. So
all right, the new edition episode of that. Yeah, we got it.
The new edition.
Johnny Gill and all.
Beef, what do you got?
My next pick is a decidedly less horny magazine than my first 2. However, it really gets the job done because it has a lot of superstars in it, and it's kind of known for one real famous cover, and that's the Jennifer Aniston cover. And so I'm going to go with Rolling Stone.
Okay.
Rolling Stone would have a lot of star musicians, gorgeous female musicians, and do like a center article on them, and so it's not as horny, but it does sort of fill in the superstar, the attainable superstar.
See, you went the direction I was going to go with this next pick, because I'm staying on kind of the music magazine route, and I'm going to go with. Do you remember Spin?
I do remember Spin. Yes,
it was like Alternative Press and Spin were like the 2 big alternative music mags, and I just remember Spin had a lot of like Shirley Manson and Veruca Salt and Courtney Love and all that, and I'm sure at one point in Dire Straits, or maybe 2 Dire Straits, I had some tension built up, needed a little relief. So I think Spin is going to be there for me, and then for my last pick, I can't believe this is still on the board. So I'm gonna take this with my final pick. Field and Stream, Grandpa Hog cover.
I actually can't believe that was up there either.
I thought when My Sock Summer was walking in his first pick, I thought that's what he was talking about, actually.
Yes. The whitetail edition. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beef, your last pick.
My last pick is a sort of a super dependable utility player type in this realm. You know, there's some higher level stuff further down the board that I kind of like. But for me, if you're just trying to get the job done, this magazine's always going to really help you get it done. Whereas the other ones are hit or miss. Sometimes you got some really good stuff in them, and sometimes you don't. I'm going to go with, and it's a total rag, but I'm going to go with Us Weekly.
Oh.
Us Weekly always has hot chicks in it. And maybe not the hottest, but hot enough where you can kind of, you get the job done there. I don't want to wait on a magazine and then you get it and it's like, it didn't deliver. Us Weekly's always going to deliver. It's not going to be the best. It's not a top tier, but it's just like a super utility player.
I thought for sure you're going to go Tough Stuff, Jose Canseco cover, but
the Bo Jackson with the bat behind his head.
I think that's a Beckett. I think that's a Beckett.
That's a Beckett. Yeah, you're right.
Oh,
You already picked them. All right. My Sock Summer, man. You got to close it out.
So here's the deal. Anytime you go into a magazine store, if you want to see some like top-notch, like great pictures, whatever, the photography section, always the best books that you can go and look at, right? You would go over there, you could get the coffee table books. You're going to see some titties somewhere up in there. So I didn't want to go with a book per se. So I'm going with a little-known magazine called American Photographer. Now, the reason is because sometimes they will teach you how to do glamour shots, right? You might going to see some titty. You might see some ass. You might see a lot of this different stuff in these magazines, just showing you how to set this up, and then also showcasing pictures from other great photographers, which we all know artists are fucking horny. They're all horny dudes. They all make art that's just for horniness. Like, that's just how it is. Like, Tom paints, you should see the stuff that Tom Paints has behind the paywall. It is some of the most insane erotica I've ever seen and laid my eyes on. I don't know if he'll ever show us, but my God, that man can paint a tit, okay? So I give the man a lot of credit. He does really good. So American Photographer would be my next pick, my final pick. And then I want to do list dumps, but I want you guys to
wait before we do anything else.
What?
Wait, what is the name of this publication?
It's called American Photographer.
Not photographer.
Photographer, whatever.
Yes.
Because at first I thought you said American Photograph, and I was like, that's actually what I wrote down. And then you were like photographer, and I was like, he didn't make up a word. He didn't just do that.
My bad.
The edibles are soaking in right now.
You got to drink on that one.
So I'm like, oh God, that's wrong. Yep.
All right, we're gonna dump lists or what?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll go fairly quickly. TV Guide. Got a little Sybil Shepherd in the 80s. You bust your first nut on Sybil Shepherd TV Guide. God damn it.
Reader's Digest.
Vanity Fair had a little Sharon Stone, Nicole Kidman, Demi Moore with the pregnant picture. I mean, like, that one had some high-class, good-looking women in there, but it was hit or miss. You couldn't always get it. Cosmopolitan, if you like basic white chicks. National Geographic, if you were into titties and nature. I, for one, kind of like Card Player Magazine, only because I was kind of like Jennifer Tilly, and her big tits were in there a lot of the time. The National Enquirer, when you really needed to rub one out to either Oprah or the Queen of England.
Or the Bat Boy.
No, that was Weekly World News, dude. Get them right. Get it right.
Whatever.
Better Homes and Gardens. If you need to go down the guilt path.
Not right now.
Victoria's Secret and People. All right, that's the end of my list. I did want to bring this up to you, my Sock Summer, before you guys get to your list. Treasy and I went to an all-boys school, so it doesn't apply to us. But how many pages in your high school yearbook are stuck together right now, currently?
None. Like I jerk off to my ear. I had far too much access to pornography as a child. I did not need to jerk off to people that I knew or could see potentially.
I busted a great nut for you last night.
Hey, you remember that basketball picture you took sophomore year? Oh man, your thighs are looking mighty fine. Truzy, what do you got for your dump?
So I had alternative press along the lines of spin. I had muscle and fitness because I felt like that, for anybody that one goes.
There's no question.
And then I had a couple magazines that I during the music business days, either we worked with or we were friends with, so we got some of these. So like MK Ultra, which is like an industrial music magazine, but obviously there's some stuff in there. And then the Suicide Girls had a magazine as well.
Oh, Suicide Girls is kind of porn though.
And that's these last three were kind of along that lines. I don't know if you know these British mags, but like Zoo and Nuts, like Lucy Pinder was in those all the time. And like, so those would end up in.
That's a name from the past. Right
So when I mentioned the Maxim one, this was all magazines that would end up in that apartment. So so that was, that's early 20s, or mid 20s, whenever that was. But yeah, so those were the other ones that I had. I didn't have a long list for this because I can't read, so there wasn't a lot of magazines floating around.
Now the Rachel Ray, she was actually in FHM, not in.
Was it okay?
Maxim. Yeah, because FHM is definitely a trendsetter.
I just Googled Lucy Pinder, and I encourage you guys to do that too as once we get off this podcast.
She really was,
I know who she is.
Impressive. Very impressive. Yeah. A couple magazines that I had that you guys didn't mention. I had the Fredericks of Hollywood catalog, which was kind of like the sluttier version of
Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secrets, yeah. Like Victoria's Secrets obviously had put some money into their shit, so you had that. They never made a magazine over it, but just guest girl ads, dude. That was some top-notch stuff, especially when you had Anna Nicole Smith doing that stuff.
So this was a Rolling Stone magazine with a guest ad in it, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, no, that was good. A magazine that probably a lot of people aren't too familiar with, but it had one really big edition. It was Gear magazine, and they had the girl from Seventh Heaven who ended up being Jessica Biel, buck naked in the magazine. That was a good one. And
what is Gear? What is Gear magazine?
It's like FHM stuff.
Oh, okay.
That kind of stuff.
It's just along the same lines.
Yeah, but they had Jessica Biel topless in it. It was insane, especially at the time. I mean, this was 2000. So I mean, it wasn't like.
Yeah, now everyone's topless.
And then Paper magazine, which is, people kind of know what it is. It was the one that had Kim Kardashian on the front with her big ass hanging out. But they also they'll have the other episode, or the other issue that they had that was big was Miley Cyrus was naked with a pig rolling around in the magazine. It's just a trip, dude. I didn't buy this magazine when I worked at the ad agency. We had access to tons of magazines, and that was one of them. It was just this is insane. It's just a very weird magazine. But that's pretty much what I got.
I don't want to know about the bathroom at the ad agency.
Oh, I just Googled the Paper magazine. Yeah, it has a very distinct look to it. It's very basic, basically, very plain. But then, you're right. I'm seeing the Kim Kardashian one is very famous, that picture.
Yes.
And then I do see the Miley Cyrus one too. Yeah.
It's the Kim Kardashian breaks the internet picture, basically.
Yeah, right. Where everyone was putting stuff on her butt and all that, redoing the picture, memeing it and shit. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yep. They might have TikToked it too there for you, big guy.
I haven't seen it on TikTok yet, but I'll let you know if I do.
You should
Keep
do
a little
TikTok.
surprised you didn't take
Should do.
News of the Weird from the Reader. That would have been.
I should have. Someone should have taken Encyclopedia Britannica.
And no one took the Onion
It's
either.
upsetting. What's that?
The Onion would have been a good one too.
Onion.
No one took the Onion.
Giant bra found.
What was the one on Mother's Day? Mom getting served breakfast in bed who just got eaten out. All-time great headline.
I think that's where we should end this Mother's Day
Probably.
edition. Guys, it was great
Excellent.
doing this again, man. I don't know how long this is, especially because I'm going to have to cut out an entire portion where people couldn't connect to the internet.
Well, we're under 2 hours. We're under 2 hours, which is
We
pretty
are,
good.
Yeah,
And
which is
I think it was-
amazing.
I think
And
it
we
was
had
off-
an hour of baseball talk.
I
So.
feel like we talked a lot, and I definitely had a bunch of beers, so that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't do ads, and I think I was in out of there for like 4 or 5 minutes. So my apologies, guys. I
that's
don't know what
true.
the hell happened.
No ads this week, so
I did not do ads, and here's the deal. If I put a post out there on Twitter today, and I want to get some more feedback from people, but if you know anybody or you yourself has started a business within the last year, and you're struggling right now, and you need some advertising, and you got a product, or you're doing something, or hey, if you're an independent guy, like if you cut hair, you can't cut hair. If you went out on your own, you took a risk. Get in contact with us. I will write me an ad and I will fucking read it. It has partially to do with my laziness of not wanting to write any ads right now. And I also want you guys to make sure that we get your name out to people that could support you. I bought Teresi a shirt from a local tattoo guy back in Huntington Beach that I knew wasn't going to make any money. I have almost bought Loaf something yet, but I have not figured out exactly what I want to do.
I
But
love running shorts if possible.
yeah, I definitely think that
short running shorts is what
you need shorter shorts. That's definitely on my mind. So no, yeah, but yeah, get in touch with us. Shoot us a DM. Slide right up in those motherfuckers. The 108 account follows everyone that follows us, even if you're a bot, even if you're from Russia. So just send it right into us. We will definitely get you an ad out there. So let us know.
guys, thanks a lot for jumping on.
It's been real.
Peace.
We'll talk to all of you very soon.
That was fun,
See you
boys.
Sunday.
Peace, guys. Yes,
Yeah, Sunday soak on Sunday. Let's do this shit.
it's happening.